Hi guys. How are you doing? I hope that you're doing fine. I am here. I'm just wearing these pearls that my husband brought me. I really like this one, so I'm gonna. Yeah, guys. So this is Charities Baba USA. My name is Charity Nganga. Today I have a very interesting topic, guys, that I'm gonna talk about. One of my viewers asked me a question, and I was like, I think I better do a video about it. But before I dive into that, I want to thank all my subscribers for subscribing to my channel. Guys, you guys are awesome. Even for liking my videos. And for the new subscribers, you're welcome, welcome, welcome. If you haven't subscribed to this space, kindly consider subscribing, guys. You guys are awesome. We are on the road to 4,000 subscribers. We have already reached 4,000, I believe 4,100. And I know that you guys are going to help me to get there. So today I am going to talk about. So this guy was asking me, it was kind of funny because I was like, oh my gosh, if he can marry an American lady and if American ladies eat the fare. So, when you talk about eating the fare, I know this notion of girls, they ask for money to go for fair, whatever, to get fair, to go and visit the man or the boy or whatever, and then they don't show up. I've seen even people doing comedy about that, which amounts to a lot of dishonesty there, because I believe if you wanted to go and see someone and you are an adult, I believe that you should be able to go, but don't take advantage of people. Because if you will take advantage of a person today and tomorrow, but then you find that at the end of the day you'll still pay it. I believe like what goes around comes around. So if you're used to eating fair, it will still come around. And another thing that I believe is that in the African setting, you find that nowadays people are becoming very, very westernized, very, very westernized. And you find that the girls, they don't want to get married anymore. They are saying that, oh, I can even have a baby without having a man and all that. But you find that they said there's a time, when you're very young, when you're in your 20s, 25, you don't want to get married because you feel like men are not important, of which it's okay if you're in school or you're trying to set up your life. But you find that as you age, as you age, there's a time that you will reach that you will not find anybody even looking, even saying hi, you know what I mean. So it is good to plan your life. It is good to plan to have a career, because this in this day and age, or in this the current world that we are living in this century, it is very important for a woman to be empowered and for a woman to be working. But after that, it is good to settle down, because I know I remember Wangari Maathai, and I really admire her very, very well. And I remember when she got her Nobel Prize. I like to follow. I don't know. I just like to follow those people who are successful. I just like to read about them. I remember there was an interview that she was being interviewed, and then she was asked, "Now you've got all this money, you have all these achievements and everything." So she was asked, "What does she regret?" She said that the thing that she regrets most is that she didn't have time to spend so much with her kids, and at the same time she regrets leaving her marriage, because you find that there's a time in a woman's life whereby you really feel like you really need someone in for a companion, you know what I mean, especially when you have had kids. When you have kids, you don't see the vacuum, especially if you're single, you don't see any vacuum. But you find that when your kids grow older, and I'm saying this because I have an older son, you find that when those kids grow older, they tend to have their own interests. Yes, you will still be there as a parent, but they will have their own interests. So they will tend like kind of, it's the time they want to leave the nest, and at the same time, even if they are living in your own house, they have their own interests. So it's not like when they were little and you're having all those conversations and all that time. You find that most of them even tend to stay in their rooms and all that, because it's part of growing up. They're trying to discover themselves. So if you did not have that companion, and I'm not saying that being single or whatever is wrong, no. If you do not have that companion at that time, it's when maybe you start thinking, oh, I wish I had gotten married, right? Or I wish I had someone. You see, because at that time, you have no one. When your kids leave, you'll just be by yourself. Maybe you will, like it's just a lonely life. It's just a lonely life. So it's always good, even when you're when you're growing up, and in your adulthood, when you're a woman, to think about such issues, even getting married. But at the same time, when you're getting married, look for someone who is your friend. Look for someone who you can settle with, and someone you can agree with issues, because you find that if you are not very keen and you just want to marry anybody that you meet, sometimes it might not work. So that's important. That's a factor to look at. But today I want to talk about, to that person who was asking me, if they can marry an American person and they have come from Africa. For me, love does not know any boundaries. It does not know any boundaries, and it does not matter where you come from. If you have fallen in love with someone, you have fallen in love with someone. But there's one thing that I can talk about, and I think this one is very, very, very important, especially when you're coming from Africa and you're coming here and you want to settle with an American. The culture here is very, very different. Very, very different. The way things are done is very, very different. And I'm going to talk about this, talking about the African setting of a wife, because I know that most people have not they have not left the African way. I know there's some, especially when money comes in and education comes in, people try to elevate, but you find that there are those cultural norms that are there in Africa, and they are not going to change, especially in a marriage. You find that most of the time, when you get married in Africa, you find that you are under that man. Most of the time, you are under that man, and of course, it's preached everywhere that you have to be submissive and all that. And you find that in the African setting, the kids, when they are little, especially when they are little, they belong to the mother. So you find that if the mother is not going to be taking care of those kids directly, they will have to hire a nanny or someone to be taking care of the kids. But the woman is like in charge of that child. The other thing is the kitchen work, the cooking and all that stuff. Like the 100% African setting is whereby the woman will always 100% will go to the kitchen, prepare all the meals, make sure that all the kitchen work is done, all that stuff. I know that there are some people who are revolving and it is changing. I do not disagree with that. But I know that the highest percentage, the domestic work belongs to the woman. So that is the African setting. So, and you find that, of course, I know people have been, women are becoming empowered. They have businesses and all that. But still, we have those women who do not work, and they know that when they get married, you're supposed to be at home and take care of the home and all that time, and take care of your husband. And if your husband comes home and you have to warm water for them, take them to the shower. I know those things still happen. I know they do happen. But I still know that some of it is changing right now. It's not that I do, I still acknowledge that change that has been there. And I'm also acknowledging that some men are stepping up and they're trying to help out and they're trying all that. Now, that is the African setting. And of course, in the African setting, there is all that stuff about paying dowry. When you get married, you have to pay dowry and all that, all that shenanigans that you have to do before you marry a girl. All that comes on into play when you're marrying an African girl. Another thing is that there is that stigma that is associated with divorce in Africa. You find that most people, they'd rather stick in a marriage that they feel that is not a very good one, because they don't want to get out, because they don't want to be stigmatized because they left their marriage, of which it's kind of changing, because I've seen like so many counselors, they talk about it, and there's so much awareness. If you're in an abusive marriage, you need to go and all that stuff. So that is the African setting for you. Now let's come to the American setting, because the American setting is totally different. Totally different. Even as immigrants, when we come here, you find that everybody has to evolve. Even our men have to evolve. And it is not a bad thing, but that is the culture, because when you come here, it's a little bit different. So the first thing, when you start dating an American girl, maybe you say that you are going to, there's come we stay, cohabiting in Africa, whereby people they just join together and they're living together and they've had kids and all that time, and maybe they'll get married when they're 50 or whatever. That happens a lot in Africa, especially because of finances and all that time. But you find that here in the US, if you start living with a woman, if you start living with a woman in the house and you have not married them, it can be in the church, or you have not gone to marry them in the court or whatever, That is not your wife, that is your girlfriend. Even if you have how many children, even they term each other my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my boyfriend. Why? Because you have not married them, you have not put a ring on their finger, you have not signed that paper and given them your last name to say, or to acknowledge that that is your wife. So you find that you will be a girlfriend or a boyfriend at that moment. Hmm? So if you get married, it doesn't matter where you get married. And in the American setting, there is nothing about dowry. There is, all that shenanigans of Africa. It's not there. So you find that it's kind of easy. I find it's a little bit easy. And of course, it brings a sense of equality in both the man and the woman. And it doesn't mean that the man doesn't respect the husband. There's that respect, and there is that companionship. That means that both of you are together. It's like in a company whereby I would say, like, there's a CEO and there's a manager. Both of them are working towards the same goal. Hmm? Both of them are working towards the same goal. It's like the hand and the glove. When when you're wearing your gloves, you find that both of them have to work together. So that is how I find the setting of the American marriage is. Hmm? And you find that in the American marriage, there are so many things that African men always ignore out there, which the Americans have to do. For example, if even before you even have children and all that time, there is all that appreciation and all that. Something like Valentine's Day. Hmm? Something that a Valentine's Day is something that you really have to acknowledge. You have to go buy flowers for your wife or your girlfriend, and you take them to her. You appreciate her. You see what I mean? There's something like date night, whereby a date night happens like every month. You have to set up a day whereby it is for you and your spouse, and you will be taking your wife or out. You buy them dinner, and that is your time. And you find that date night is very, very important, because even I know in our church, they sometimes they give they babysit the kids, so that the parents can go to date night. Hmm? Even it's funny. Even I'm taking my daughter to another activity, and today they announced that on Saturday we can take our kids for them to stay with them from 6 to 10, so that if parents want to go for a date night or do whatever, they can do, because date night is very, very important. And I'm saying it's different because in Africa, I have not seen any time that the man has maybe taken the kids to the grandmother or to someone, or they left them with the nanny, and they have that day that they have to take their wife out. Hmm? That one, like, it has to happen. You see what I mean? Another thing here in the US that is not very common in Africa is public affection. Public affection is everywhere. It is your wife. You hold hands. You can kiss her. You can, all that stuff. When you're sitting down, you find that you can tell if people are married, because there's all that public affection. Hmm? And you find that people, like in Africa, sometimes you'll find that, there's some people who are just mannerless. I say that it's mannerless. You marry someone, they have their own name, but you resort to calling them where or whatever. No, it doesn't happen like that here. You find that there are those words they call each other honey or darling and all that. That one happens a lot. I know it happens in Africa, but not everywhere. Maybe those people who are elite, and those people maybe in the urban areas, it happens a lot. But when you go back there to the village, that one doesn't happen. You find that even you married someone, and you don't even you have never acknowledged them by their name. You have never. But you find that Americans are very respectful, and there's something about Americans that I really like. Like, if like the true ones that I have watched, because I like to observe people, and I've watched like people like who are really, really in love. Like that man, like, really adores his wife. Like, oh my gosh, like, seriously, you'll see that that person is really, 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 really loves that wife. Hmm? Like, there is, even they open the doors for them, even when they're sitting, and they keep on checking on them. Are you doing okay? Do you need anything? Or what, like, all that. There's a lot of public affection. And if you do not have that, guys, because I've also watched people, Africans, marry Americans, and sometimes it's not working, because they're saying, this man, he doesn't take me out for date night. This man, they don't have that public affection and all that. They like gifts, gifts all the time. When you go, it doesn't matter how the cost of the gift, even if it's one rose flower, they will really appreciate that, because it's all about giving. It's all about giving. That one, like the way you watch a movie and you see like someone has brought flowers or whatever, most people are here in America, they try to make their marriage like a fairy tale. And they, you know, they have that time, that is their time, and even the kids know that that is the time for the parents, or for the people who are married. That one is something that you have to do when you want to marry an American girl. The other thing is when you have kids, when your wife becomes pregnant, you find that in Africa, the thing is like singular. I would say it's singular. I know it's evolving, but it has not evolved 100%. So you find that when a woman gets pregnant in Africa, it's a single thing. They say I'm expecting to have a child or whatever. But in the US, they say we are pregnant. It is both of you who are pregnant because you are expecting that baby. And then from there, you find that if it is something like going for antenatal clinics and all that time, you will start from day one. Is very, very important because your wife needs all that support. That support is there. Like you find that their support, your husband is supporting you 100%. They're supporting you when you go. You know, I don't know how I can explain it, but you find that this man is taking you to all the antenatal clinics that you're going to until the last day that you will have the baby. That is there. And even when you have the baby, they are there. They're present there, and you get your baby. And then when it comes to take care of that baby, it's going to be both of you. It's not going to be the woman alone. It's going to be both of you. Whereby you find that even men, they don't shy away from changing diapers. They don't shy away of babysitting. They do not. That is the American setting. So if you're coming from there and you want to marry an American girl, and you expect that you are going to remove the American in her and put the African way, then you find that you'll end up divorcing, because it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that, because you find that you have to take part. This is like an institution for both of you, that both of you have to take part. And you know, there was a time that I talked about, I just mentioned something about marriage, and someone made a very bad comment, and they said that the women, the African women, when they go to the US, they change and they become hard-headed. No, we do not become hard-headed. You become more aware that you are important. You see what I mean? You become more aware that you are important, and you become more aware that communication is good. When you communicate with your spouse, it becomes better. That those communications have to go on and go on. And even your man has to accept that they have to chip in and help. Something like doing laundry, it's done by everybody in the American way. So that African man who wants to come and marry an American, if it's something like doing laundry, you are going to do it, you are going to fold it together. If it is cooking, cooking in the kitchen, you will do it, you will do the dishes, all that work, the domestic work. It is not only for the woman. It does not fall for the woman, guys. So you find that sometimes it's the man who is cooking, the man is barbecuing, the man is left with the kids when the wife is going to work. So it's both ways, because I told you, like, it's hard to hire a nanny here. So those are some of the things that you should put into consideration when you come here and you want to marry an American girl. It's diversity. It's good. It's very, very good. But at the same time, you have to know that after you have overcome the culture shock, then you have to learn, watch, learn, so that you can, when I marry this American girl, how am I going to treat her? How am I going to treat her? Because you find that when you marry her, you're not going to pay dowry, and think that you have owned her. I know there's some men who are very respectful, some African men who are very, very, very respectful even to their wives, but there are some who are just horrible. They're just horrid. And you find that here in the US, if you start misbehaving, here it's only one wife. It's only one wife. In Africa, it's many wives. For whatever, many wives. You can marry as many wives as you can. But here it's only one wife. You find that if you start going out and your wife realizes that you're having other people, they will divorce you. Here, divorce is like, there's no stigma with divorce. People even live in the third marriage, fourth marriage, whatever. Until they get the right one, they will get married. So you find that you have to be very careful. And just work on it. I know even them, you have to meet each other halfway, but at the same time, you have to understand that Americans are so much outspoken, and then in the African setting, you find that most of the time, the woman is not going to talk much, and they're not going to say much of the things. But you find that here, if something bad happens, you will hear it. You will be told about it. So there's that openness that you have to embrace as a man, and that's one of the main challenges that men, because men struggle when they come to the US. Our African men really struggle before they embrace the culture. The ones that embrace the culture do very, very well. They do very, very well, and it becomes very, very easy and smooth for the marriage. And I say that I'm lucky because me and my husband, like we have tried so much to embrace and to just try and work together, so that just for the benefit of our family and the benefit of our kids. I really thank God for that. But you find that when you want to come and marry here, you have to look at the culture, you have to look at how things are done, you have to look at, so many things. So many things. Something like wife beating, wife battering, you can do that here. You cannot do that here, because if you do that here, you will go to jail. You cannot beat up your wife. No, you cannot do that. You will go to jail. So another thing is that if you know the way, like in the African setting, that men, they tend to go out there and they're having other kids, and wherever they want to have kids, they want to have kids, and they're married. You find that one here, it's kind of restricted. I wouldn't say that it doesn't happen, because people, there will always be those people who just do not get content with whatever that they have. But you find that here, when you start popping babies with women, you start, distributing everywhere you go, you're having babies with women, you will be in so much trouble, because you'll be forced to pay child support for those kids. It's not the African way, whereby the man just abandons the woman and they just go and then they want to come back when the kids have grown up. No, it doesn't work like that. Here, the setting is a little bit different. So if you're that kind of man who wants to do that, you'll find that you'll be faced with a lot of trouble, because when you go to work, all your money will be slashed, and every kid will get some amount, because those are your kids and you chose to have them, so you have to take care of them. So it's very, very important, if you want to come and marry someone, an American girl or whatever, that you have to put all that into consideration. Know their culture first. Know the culture, the American culture, because it's going to be very, very different. Know that that girl will want to be held. I was having a conversation with another lady. She was married to an African guy, and sometimes she would complain and she would say that her man never held her hand in public. That can be a very, very big issue. So you have to learn to do those little things that are frowned out in Africa, because you find that most of the time you won't find a man and a woman like just holding hands like that. It doesn't happen like that in the street. But you find that here it happens like that. Here you have to show a lot of affection to that person that you have married, so that it can work. Otherwise, if you don't, then it's not going to work. It's not going to work. So guys, it's doable. You can do it. It's good to be diverse, but you have to learn the culture first. You have to know that this is how I can maneuver it. So that is just my observation. That is what I have observed and I have seen and I have tried to learn. And you find that here, in the African setting, when people are they are having trouble in marriage, maybe they call parents or whatever, or or maybe the people who are the best man or the best mate for the wedding. You find that here they tend to go to marriage counselors, marriage counseling. You go for marriage counseling, and you go you try to get help there, and if you cannot get help, then you just divorce. It's what it is. If it cannot work, it cannot work. So that is how it is. So it's good to know. If you're thinking that when you come here with a DV lottery, you want to marry an American, it's okay, you're welcome to marry them, but at the same time, just learn about their culture. It's good to learn about it, and then after you learn about it, then you try to maneuver. Love is love. For me, I know love is love, and love can surpass anything. I've seen people who are very, very successful, but they have had to admit that spouse halfway so that it can work. So I hope that this video will help that viewer who was asking on how to go about it. If they came here they came here and they wanted to marry an American girl, it is doable. And even our girls, they get married to American boys, which is doable. And they have very, 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 very lovely weddings, and they have lovely children. But you always have to look at the dynamics, because the dynamics will shape what kind of marriage that you will have with that spouse. So thank you for watching this video. I will see you in another video. God bless you.